Welcome, Hive Scum, to today's Necromunda unboxing. So, as you probably are aware, for those who've seen my Necromunda gang painting video that I had out recently, I played Goliaths. And what other boxes go well with Goliaths? Servitor Ogryns. Even if I wasn't playing Goliath, I would probably still pick up this box. Even if I wasn't playing Ogryns, I would still probably pick up this box. Purely because, look how flipping cool these guys look. They look very, very, very Necromunda-esque. Obviously, Ogryns are in generic 40k, and they always look badass. And then recently, in Darktide, which is a 40k console game and computer game, they are a playable character. And they're just quite funny, smacking stuff with a spade. Imperial Guard stuff is pretty cool. I don't dislike it. I've never picked it up myself, even though the new Imperial Guard models look pretty damn sweet. But Ogryns always have a special place in my heart. They look wicked, big slab, meat shields. I always thought that could look quite Necromunda-y. And I didn't realise this box was a thing. So this is obviously the 2 Ogryn box. There was a bigger box. I don't know if it's still available because I can't seem to find it anywhere, with a load more Ogryns. So this is an unboxing, a little bit of a tips and tricks video, and basically tell you what I'm going to do with them. Now originally, when I picked up this box, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have 1, maybe 2 in my gang throughout my gang's campaign, if they survive, purely because they just look flipping cool. But the more I check out the rules for these guys, and the more I check out the models and the conversions that people have done, the more I think, oh no, I'm going to have to start another gang, aren't I? It's just the way things go. So, if you decide to play these guys as an actual gang, obviously you have a leader, like most gangs do. The Ogryn leader is called an overboss, and then you have the underboss, which is your champion, and then you get your regular slaves, which are your regular gangers, and then you get your Lobo slave ganger as well. So the difference is, obviously we can see what Ogryns look like. The Lobo slave ones are normally fully lobotomized Ogryns. So if you thought they were a little bit simple before, yeah, these are even lower down than that. What gets me is, playing Goliath, obviously slave gang, you would think they'd be against slavery, wouldn't you? No, the only thing lower than a Goliath in the slave world is an Ogryn. So these guys are generically speed 5, which is 1 point faster than a Goliath. The ballistic skill is generally 1 point less on a 5. Weapon skill is a 3, which isn't bad. Strength 5 though, as standard, is pretty damn tasty. I would love to see these guys running around smacking people, even if they weren't equipped with close combat weapons. Toughness 5 is another good point. So I run my Goliaths at toughness 5 anyway, which seems to annoy some people, but you know, I could always put their ballistics up instead if you rather them. I just rather run them fluff-wise, like stupid, tough Goliath, than I would slightly better shooty Goliath. So that's how I'm running them, because I'm not really running them with any tricks. I think just relying on their toughness and just having a good time. Like I said before, if you're playing OP in Necromunda, maybe Necromunda isn't the game for you. But going back to the Ogryns, they are generally wound 3 as well. So 3 wounds on Ogryn is flipping nice. 2 attacks on a champion is pretty good. 2 attacks on the regular ganger is pretty good. And obviously, as you can probably imagine, the leader has 1 additional attack. So the leadership isn't great. It's Goliath territory once again. So it's leadership 8. Cool of 7, which is, I would say, fairly average. I was expecting the cool maybe to be slightly more along the lines of Goliath again. Will is 9. I'm not surprised. and intelligence is 9. Really not surprised there. And because these guys are big hulking brutes, if you need to like jump across a platform or you're doing some weird and wonderful tricks, leaping from pillar to pillar, you're needing a 4-up generally as well, very much like Goliath. So they're not too dissimilar to Goliath. I just think they look like wicked models. It'd be pretty cool to have some Ogryns as a team as well as joining my Goliath gang. And as you can imagine, they haven't got a vast array of weapons. So the hand weapons are pretty basic. Axe, cleaver, maul, spudjacker, things like that. Do have access to your basic grenades, your basic armour, so carapace armour and furnace plates. And then you got like your personal equipment like undersuit, drop rig, things like that. But they're augmetic weapons. You can have the old storm welder, the arc welder, rock cutter saw, las cutter, paired augmetic fist, or a single augmetic fist. I don't generally care too much about the rules. I just think these guys look biff with 2 robotic fists. They're a pair as well, so paired obviously means double your base attacks. So if they've got 2 attacks, they'll be getting 4 attacks. Of course, you get additional for charging and whatnot. But let's get into the box and see what is in the box. So all those options you can have for the rules, I wonder if they're in here. You only get 1 sprue, which is interesting. And funny enough, 2 bases, because apparently it makes 2 models. So, in the instructions, what does it say? You've got a few different head options. So it does actually give you the lobotomized option in this 2-man box. Obviously in the bigger box you have a lot more options, a lot more things you can do. But only 1 sprue is kind of limiting. So there you got your fists and your spudjacker. Your back options as well. That looks pretty cool. These guys with the pot bellies just look absolutely biff. I was actually quite surprised to see them at speed 5 though. So I, at the moment, don't know how to arm them. I do like the idea of the welding mask, purely because I'm a mechanic myself and really do enjoy my welding. So that's pretty cool. These weapons look flipping nuts. Let's even get the light slightly better for you so you can see some detail here. So there's your classic spudjacker there. Focus. Focus, 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 focus. There we go. Got there in the end, right? There's a big butt of a Goliath there as well. Your arc welder, your spot welder. Big chunky belly. So you don't get much in a box. So the box is about, I don't know, somewhere from 22, 25 quid, something like that. You do get 5 head options. And I think there'll be some nice conversions out there. So if you had like more tribes or you had regular Ogryns for 40k, I think with the leftover bits you could make some pretty nice models. Wouldn't take much to convert. And they don't have to look pretty. If you want to do a bit of green stuff, I don't think you have to be too fancy, because all the fancy stuff, like the grenades and stuff hanging from their hip, you already have this here on the sprue. So realistically, how many models can you make in this kit? Obviously you can make 2, we all know that. But I think if you had a couple of different bodies, you've picked up on eBay a couple of Ogryns or even Maul Tribe Ogres, I think there are a few more options out there. But these models just look absolutely biff. Of course, they are on a larger base as well, so you're not going to get too many of these guys on a gantry or a walkway. So that's exactly probably what they're going to do, is get in the way, and then they can get past. So, what kind of rules are we getting for these weapons? And why do we have options of a Lobo Slave, which is a lobotomized Ogryn? So a lobotomized Ogryn, which is only 70 points, which is relatively cheap for something that has 2 wounds, toughness 5, strength 5. He is slightly slower, he is a speed 4. His ballistics is 6, which isn't great, obviously. Will is 10 plus, which is shocking, so maybe not go against Corpus Grinders with this guy. But the cool is 5, which is pretty nice. So, Ogryns are slow-witted anyway, and they even have a slow-witted rule. So Ogryns are not especially bright or quick on the uptake, but mono servitors are particularly dull-witted. This fighter may never be activated as part of a group activation, which seems about right. So these guys are tanky. Apart from the Lobo, speed 5 I didn't think was too bad, you know, so they are not slow, not really. And if they get in the way, it's going to take a lot to take these guys out. The only real negative I can see with the Slave Ogryns is the fact that they have a rule called Runaway. Should a fighter with this special rule ever be taken captive or sold to the guilders, the gang that sells them are awarded an extra D6 times 10 credits. So you're basically giving credits away for days if you're running these guys. The lobotomized slave, not only does he have like a cool head rather than a regular Goliath head, he has a trait called lobotomized as well, which basically means when he's getting shot at, he cannot become prone and pinned. And is unable to perform a take cover basic action. So he's not the Terminator. He's just going to keep coming. He's not going to drop down and get some cover. I just think they just look great. They really, really look cool, these guys. So one of the options are to have only one mechanized arm and have like a ball socket instead on the other arm. So I might see if I can magnetize it. It doesn't say on the instructions how to build it, but it does look pretty basic. And sadly, it's not on the front of the box either. But I have seen pictures of people assembling these guys with only one fist and just having a metal socket on the other side where you could attach an arm possibly in future. I just think they've got such expression on their faces. They'd be a wicked addition to any team. Mainly for the narrative. I just think they look wicked. There's so many things that you can do with these guys that I was not expecting. For example, I like the Storm Welder. I think it's crazy the amount of times my model in my gang has killed herself. That's Vasquez. It's unreal. She has killed 2 enemies and herself 4 times in different games. But these Ogryns have a close combat variant, which is the Arc Welder, which is the mount this thing's intended for. I'm assuming Vasquez must have took the safety off, and this thing is just like the Ghostbuster gun, spraying everybody for days. But this thing is strength plus 2. They're already strength 5. So strength plus 2, that's pretty tasty. 7s, so you're welding people and you're damaging them on 2s. The AP is 3, so not many people are going to get away with that. And the damage is 3, which is nuts. If they're still alive after that, somehow, it also has the Blaze trait. I think that's going to be pretty fun. I mean, the augmented fists are nice anyway. I mean, they are strength 1, so you're still... strength plus 1. So you're still going to be strength 6, so that's going to be hitting fairly hard. Like your toughness 3 people, you're still wounding them on 2s, which is nice. AP 1, 2 damage, and knockback, which is nice, you know. It's not crazy powerful. Damage 2 is always good. Obviously these guys can't be equipped with pistols and things like that, because that would just look crazy. I can imagine the tiny little pistol in these guys' hands are a bit like the noisy cricket from the first Men in Black film. So they obviously can have their the augmented power fists. They can have them in pairs as well, which is pretty nice. So you can imagine they're going to get lots and lots of attacks. It just looks cool as well. So it doesn't get extra strong or anything like that. It just gets double the attacks. Now these guys are a little bit expensive. Like I said, the Lobo Slave is 70 credits, which it's not too bad when you look at Goliath points. The regular Ogryn is 90 credits. This is obviously before you start equipping them with any decent weapons. The Underboss, which is a champion, is 110 credits. And the leader is 145 credits. And that's before you put any gear on them. But I really don't care. They just look flipping cool. I mean, if you look at the back of the instructions, this guy here, he's got some serious swag on him, on him. You can see, looks like he's just come back from working. He's coming home to his wife. Ugh, God knows what she looks like. But, yeah, you look like he's a proper worker. He just does as he's told, like a typical Ogryn. And I think I might even start talking like an Ogryn while playing him. But look at the detail on, like, the faces and stuff. So good. If I can actually focus for once, you can see and get the light in the right place. They do have lots and lots of detail. That one there, it looks like he's had the top of his head cut off. It's been re-stitched back on, so they probably like scooped his brains out with a melon baller or something. That one's got some serious teeth issues. That one's got his tongue hanging out. Nice little grappling hook there. So I picked these guys up, and I just thought it'd be cool because, tell you the truth, I'm the kind of guy that will spend an extra £20 rather than paying for postage if I can get free postage, because that's just how I roll, and that's exactly why these companies do it. Pick these guys up because I thought they were fun. Maybe have them in my gang, maybe not. Maybe just have them wander around the board like a general civilian. Pretty cool. But while listening to Sump City Radio, I'm a bit behind the times. I've only picked it up recently. I'm up to episode 6, and they're talking about these guys. And I thought, it's almost like they know, way back in the past, at that moment, I was going to pick these guys up. And they're telling me about options. Now, looking at that grappling hook reminds me that they were talking about making a Bat Ogryn with smoke grenades and grappling hooks. I just think that looks wicked, and sounds amazing. And they were talking about green stuff in little ears and little spikes on the back of the gauntlets and things like that, just like Batman. I can imagine this pot-belly Batman just leaping up gantries with a grappling hook and just getting in people's way. Especially seeing as most of their close combat weapons have knockback. So you can imagine this guy's on a gantry, you're not getting past them, and whatever happens, he's going to knock you probably off of that gantry. Can't wait to paint them up. I mean, I've really been experimenting with painting tattoos on my models recently, so I might paint a nice cog or something on one of her shoulder, or maybe I love my mum or something. Yeah, really looking forward to painting some nice, interesting skin tones, more deadish looking skin tones, if that makes sense, because the lobotomized guy, I can't imagine his blood flow is going to be amazingly well. It's a more necrotic, possibly looking skin. But yeah, can't wait to paint these guys up. Sorry I only gave you a brief rundown of the rules, but it could take forever if I rip through them, and it might just be numbers that I'm reeling off and people are going to get bored. Probably bored of me already, but I don't care. I really love these models, and I just basically wanted to shout it out. Cool. Well, thank you very much for watching anyway, guys. Please hit that like button if you haven't done already, and please subscribe for some more great hobby content. Okay, stay safe, you wonderful people. Catch you in the next video.